So we've said we've got a three-part framework for optimization. And the first part of that is asking questions. So I want to give you a few questions that you can ask of your data to get you headed in the right direction when it comes to optimizing your Google Ads account. Now, we've broken down AdWords into 6 areas. So let's start with a question or two for each area. And we'll do it in the order that we did the modules, starting with messaging. So what questions might you have on the messaging side? Well, inside Google Ads, the main question you're going to have is around ads. How well is a particular ad performing? Is one ad performing much better than another? Later on, when we get to mastery of Google Ads, we're going to talk about different types of ads. So within search, there are actually 2 main types of ad. One is called an expanded text ad. The other is called a responsive search ad. You don't need to worry about the details for now, but one question that you might ask yourself is, how are these different types of ad performing? Have you got different messages in your ad? We talked about calls to action earlier in the messaging module. Is one call to action outperforming another one? Is the one that says free in-home measure and quote, does that perform better or worse than the one that says call us today for a quote? Small changes, but small changes can have huge impacts in the results in your ad account. So next we move to targeting. Well, the main question you're going to have there is this keyword working for me or not? Do I need to remove this keyword? Do I need to add a new keyword? We haven't yet talked about a thing called negative keywords. A negative keyword is something that you can add to your account that says, Google, do not show my ad if this keyword is in the search query. The most often used example there is free, or used or second hand. So let's say I sell cameras and microphones. If someone is searching for second hand camera, I probably don't want to show them an ad. And so I would have second hand and variations on that theme, used, vintage, pre-loved. I'd have variations on that as negative keywords to stop my ad showing up. So one question you might ask yourself is, I'm going to go look at this report that I can find in Google of all of the search terms that people have used in order to cause my ads to show. Are there words or phrases in that report that I need to add as a new negative keyword to stop my ad showing? A client of ours is a home cleaner. And when the coronavirus thing hit, a lot of people went searching for hand cleaning. And the person that was running that account before us had not thought to have hand as a negative keyword. And so they ended up wasting a lot of money, people searching for hand cleaning when they should have been showing ads for cleaning homes. We've now inherited that account and fixed that problem and saved them a lot of money in the process. So on the targeting side, you're going to think about what's working. I mean, really, this is the question for everything. But if you think about it in these different areas, it'll make a lot more sense. But it's what's working, what's not. What could I add? What could I change? What could I remove? Then we move to bidding. Well, bidding is going to be easy. It's basically, do I bid more or do I bid less? Do I increase my budget or decrease my budget? There are 2 main ways, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but there are 2 main places that you can bid. You can either bid at the ad group level, which says set one bid here, and that bid applies to all keywords in that ad group. And that's what I recommend you do when you're starting out. If you want to, you could have a separate bid for every single keyword. That's just going to cause more work for you, particularly when you're starting out. It's just unnecessary. So bid at the ad group level. So your question is going to be, which ad groups are working really well? So which ad groups might I increase the bid? Because that will hopefully cause Google to show my ads more often and hopefully increase my profit. And which ad groups are not performing well, where I might want to decrease the bid so I spend less per click. So hopefully then my CPA comes down to a manageable level. I might get less conversions by doing that, but at least I'm not losing money every time I run an ad, and I get my CPA down to a sensible level. Next module was structure and settings. Now, if you're the only person running the Google Ads account, that's probably not going to be a problem for you. Maybe the question there would be, do I need to add a new campaign? Has the business changed dramatically where we need to talk about a new service or a new product that we offer? As you get more advanced and we start talking about shopping and display and video, remember those other parts of the Google Ad Network? Maybe a question there would be, what other types of targeting could I add? What other campaign types could I add to this account? If you've got multiple people running the account, you might want to ask the question, have any of these campaign settings changed since the last time I was in this account? Because different people will maybe manage things differently, unless you've got some really good processes and SOPs in place, which of course an agency will have. But if you're managing this yourself and you're busy in a business, you've got a dozen hats to wear, that might not be the most important thing to nail down, and you might have different people managing things in different ways. And so what's changed is always a good question to ask. And then we talked about measurement. So the most important question that you're going to ask there is, has something broken? Has somebody removed the code from the thank you page? Have they changed it by mistake? Did we create a new form and we've got a new thank you page, but nobody thought to add the tracking pixel to the new thank you page, and therefore we're not tracking any visits to this new thank you page? So what's broken, or what needs to be fixed, what needs to improve, is the main question you're going to ask with tracking. It's amazing how often tracking will break because a web developer has moved a piece of code because they're thinking from their point of view about what needs to happen to make the website function. They may not be thinking from the marketer's point of view of, how do I track this to make sure that we're spending money on the right things? So there are a few questions to get you started. Really, it's going to come down to performance. So you're going to be looking at that. The most important columns are going to be cost. How much am I spending on this? And then you've got a set of 3 columns: impressions, clicks, and click-through rate. So impressions is important. Are my ads even showing? An impression means your ad has been seen by someone. If your bid is too low, then you might not get any impressions, or you might get very few impressions. So one question you're going to ask yourself is, how much do impressions go up as I increase my bid? Click-through rate is just the number of people that click on your ad compared to the number of people that saw it. So again, we're back to messaging. If I change the message in my ad, how does that affect my click-through rate? Then the next most important set of columns are those 3 we talked about in the last module: conversions, cost per conversion, and conversion rate. Cost per conversion being the most important one there. So as I make changes to the account, how does my cost per conversion change? Please don't make the mistake, though, of trying to get the cheapest possible cost per conversion. We have so many people when they come to us and we say, what's your goal? What's the strategy for this? What do you want? And they say, more conversions and a cheaper cost per conversion, please. And it's very, very difficult to get both. It is possible sometimes, but it's difficult usually to get both. Instead, what you really should be asking for is to maximize profit. And if you're trying to get the cheapest possible leads, then what's probably going to happen is the number of leads you get isn't very many. Remember our curve from before. If we offer Google $1, it's really not going to get us anything. If we offer it $500, we're losing money every time we run an ad. And so there is some sort of curve in the middle here. Our job is to find roughly the peak of that curve and maximize the profit in our account.